Hey guys, today we'll be talking about Ojer Axonil Deepest Might. And this card's probably one of the best cards from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And it reads 2 red, trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Ojer's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to Ojer Axonil's power instead. So it can deal 4 damage, but if we can pump it, it can deal more. And then when he dies, it returns to the battlefield, taps and transforms under its owner's control. And its transformed self is a land, and it taps for a red, and then you can say tap red, and you can tap it, transform Temple of Power, activate only if red sources you control dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn, and only as a sorcery. So you can really just get a land if you want, so that you can consider getting a land and maybe transferring it back, but without paying its commander tax, or you can send it to command zone and pay the commander tax. So it's your decision. So this card can go really well with burn, obviously. And our first card is Mana Barbs. So Mana Barbs, whenever a player taps a land for mana, it deals 1 damage to that player. So this does deal damage to you. This is much worse for your opponents, because if you got your commander on the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to them instead. And then we got Roiling Vortex, and this card can be really good, just dealing 4 damage to each player's upkeep, and then you can also prevent life gain, and it can also deal 5 damage if they didn't cast a spell. We also got Acidic Soil, and this card could just deal 1 damage to each opponent for each land they control. If your opponent has 10 lands and your commander's a 4/4, it could be stronger. If it's like an 8, it could even deal more damage. So this card could be a game finisher for only 3 mana. And then we get End the Festivities. This card's really good in a lot of burn decks, and it just deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. So only for 1 red mana, just deal 4 damage to each opponent, and it could be more. Then we got Fiery Confluence. This card's really good. It deals at least 12 damage, and it could do more if you do have actually your commander more powerful than 4 power. But you can also choose to deal damage to each creature, or you can destroy an artifact. And then we got Electrostatic Field. This card's really good, just deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever we cast it in sorcery. And we have a couple of sorceries, so this card can be pretty good. And then we got Erebor Flamesmith, and this card also does the same thing, deals 1 damage to each opponent, equal whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell. It's a 2/1. And we got Firebrand Archer, does the same thing, just this time it's a non-creature spell rather than a instant sorcery spell. And then we got Cinder Pyromancer, and this card can just deal 1 damage to target player. The only thing I don't like about this card is it deals target player. But the good thing is, whenever you play any red spell, which we're mono red, so we're going to be playing a lot of red spells, we just untap him and deal 1 damage to another player, which is not 1 damage because it's 4 damage, or it could be more. And we got Gimli, Counter of Kills. And this card is the new card from Lord of the Rings, and whenever opponent control dies, he just deals 1 damage to that creature's control. We don't even have to kill it. Our other opponents can kill it, kill either one of their creatures, and then they take 4 damage. It's a 4/3 also. And then we got Kessig Flamebreather. And this card's also really good because whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it just deals 1 damage to each opponent. And yeah, he's really cheap on red. We got Rampaging Ferocidon. 2 red and menace. Players can't gain life, and then whenever another creature enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. So it just prevents life gain. It also just deals 4 damage whenever a creature enters the battlefield, only 1 damage to you. Then we got Spear Spewer, and he's just 1 red, and he has Defender, and then he just deals 1 damage to each player whenever you tap him. It does deal damage to you, but only 1 damage and deals more damage to your opponents. Then we got Thermo Alchemist, and this card's really good, just deals 1 damage to each opponent, and then whenever you cast an sorcery spell, untap it. And then we got Unruly Catapult, and this card's just really good, just doing 1 damage, and then instant sorcery spell. You know what it is. There's so many of these cards, because just whenever you just do something, you just do it more, because it's more damage. It's just gonna kill your opponents not slowly, because if you just cast a couple instant sorcery spells, that's gonna deal a lot of damage to your commander. And then we got Voldaren Epicure. And this card's just really good, just 1 red, just deal 1 damage to each opponent, and then you create a blight token. We've got Zozu the Punisher, and this card's really good, just dealing 2 damage to a player whenever they play a land. And this, if you get this early with your commander, you can just go like 4 damage, 4 damage, 4 damage, and it could be more. And And then we got Chandra, Awakened Inferno. And this card is 6 mana, but its +2 is really good though. So you just can make each opponent create an emblem with whenever they, at the beginning of their upkeep, they get an emblem, just deals 1 damage to them. So that can just deal 4 damage, 4 damage, 4 damage, and it could be more. And then she has a -3 that can deal 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. It's a good board wipe. We're not focusing on that. We're focusing on the first one. And then if you can use her -X ability if you really want to, but it's not the best. And you can just deal X damage to target creature or player. If a permanent dealt the damage with this way would die, it's exile instead. So not that good, but the +2 ability is amazing for our deck. And then we got Grapeshot. And Grapeshot, oh my god, it's gonna be really good. Let's just say we cast like 5 spells this turn. This is our 5th spell. We can deal 20 damage to like any target. Like at 20 damage to a player, not target, because our commander only works on players. And now we got Pump. And this is just gonna pump your commander so we can just make him bigger. We got Blackblade Reforged. And this card's amazing. Just the cryptic creature just gets +1/+1 for each land you control. So let's just say you have 7, your commander's 11/11. And now those sources that just deal 1 damage or 2 damage now deal 11. But it's just equipped a legendary creature, which we are focusing on, that is 3, and it has equipped 7 for another thing. So we're going to be equipping for 3 on our commander. And then we got Champion's Helm, and this card's really good. So it's 3, and equipped creature gets +2/+2, equip 1, but it also gets hexproof if it's legendary, and our commander's legendary. So this is going to get hexproof. And then we got Heraldic Banner, and this card's just really good because we can give all of our creatures of a chosen color, which is definitely going to be red, the +1/+0, and it's just also ramp. It just gives us add 1 mana of any of the color of the chosen color. Add 1 mana of the chosen color, which that can be a lot of mana, not a lot of, there's just 1 mana. And then we got Hero's Blade, which this card just pumping our commander, and it can also just attach to a legendary creature when it enters the battlefield. So we just play this on turn 2, and eventually when our player commander turn 3 or maybe turn 4 if we don't have ramp, we can just equip this to it. And then we got O-Naginata. It's just 1 mana, and it can just be attached to only with a creature with power 3 or greater, which our commander fortunately has power 4, so it can be equipped. And then our commander can get equipped, creature gets +3/+0 and has trample. So then our commander just 7 power, and though now our sources, non-combat sources deal 7 damage. It's equipped 2. And then we got Infuriate. This card's only a sorcery, instant, but it does do target creature gets +3/+2 until end turn, and showing for red deck. And we got Brute Force, same thing, just it's +3/+3 until end turn. And then we got Monstrous Rage. This card's really good. See now it's really blurry, but it basically reads target creature gets +2/+0 until end turn. Create a monster roll token attached to it. So a monster roll token just basically allows it to get enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has trample, which that's really good for red mana because that sticks on, and it also gets +2/+0. And then we got Rush of Blood. This card's really good because our commander has 4 power, but let's just say our commander has like 10 power. We can give it 20 power, and just now our opponents are just really vulnerable, and we're just going to kill them really quickly. And then we got Titan Strength, and this card's just like Infuriate or Brute Force, just it gets +3/+1 until end turn, but we also get to scry 1. And then we got Unleash Fury, and this card's just going to double the power of target creature until end turn for just 1 red, and that's just going to make our commander's power 8, or it could be more. And then we got Mishra's Command. This card can do a lot of things. We can make a player discard card, make us draw cards. We can deal damage to target creature, deal damage to target planeswalker, and the one that we're really gonna care about is target creature gets +X/+0 and gains haste until end turn. So we can just make it like X equal whatever we want, and then we can also choose 2. Now we got card advantage, and we gotta draw cards to refill our hands. So the Tectonic Giant's pretty good because you can deal either 4 damage, which 3 damage to 4 is not the best, but it's pretty good still because it's still +1 damage. But the one we really care about, or whatever, is exile the top 2 cards of your library, and we can just play them until end turn. So that's gonna be pretty good. We can either do damage, or we can exile our cards to see if we want to like pick one, like play it. And then we got Virtue of Courage, and this card's from the new Wilds of Elgin, and it basically is for 5 mana, but whenever a source you control that's non-combat damage controls damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards until turn. So we are going to do so much damage from non-combat damage. This card's going to give us like 10 cards, 15 cards exiled. This is going to be really good. So this week we can just get like 15. This card's probably one of our best cards in the deck. We've got Needle Drop. Needle Drop's really good because it can just deal 1 damage to a target player that was dealt damage this turn. Fortunately, we did deal damage to our opponents, and it just draws a card for 1 red mana. That just refills itself. It just plays itself, and you get to get a refill. Then we got Thrill Possibility. Just discard a card to draw 2 cards for 2 mana. Then we got Unexpected Windfall. Gets 2 charge tokens, draw 2 cards, but we do have to discard cards for 4 mana. And then we got Light Up the Stage, which this card's really good because we're only going to have to play for red mana because of Spectacle. And Spectacle allows you to pay for it if an opponent lost life this turn. And it basically just allows you to exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play them until your next turn. And then we got Faithless Looting, which this card can be flashbacked, and it draws 2 cards, then discard 2 cards for just red mana. And then we got Ramp. This is our last category, but we got Birgi, God of Storytelling. I know this card's like $8 I think. It's 2 red, but whenever you cast a spell, add red mana until in turn you don't lose this mana as steps in phases end. And then we don't care about that ability. That ability is useless. We have no boasting abilities in our deck. Then there's also Flip Side, which is also pretty useless, so I'm not going to show you. But whenever we cast a spell, we just add red mana, which is really good, just adding so much red mana. And then we got Runaway Steamkin, and this card's really good. Just whenever we cast a red spell, we can just add red 3 mana whenever we get 3 spells cast. And we got Solemn Simulacrum, and it's just card just really good, just searching our library for a basic land card when it's in the battlefield, and then when it dies, good draw card. Then we got Arcane Signet, and this card just gonna be pretty good. It's just a staple in every single deck, goes in every single deck, just like Soul Ring. Yep. And Commander Sphere, yeah, not as much of a staple. It's a game time decision. And we also got Fellwar Stone, which this card is pretty popular in most decks, and it's really good. And then we got Wayfarer's Bubble, which this card, you can just search your library for a basic land card. I don't particularly like this card because it's really wonky because you have to use your turn 1 and 2 usually to just to get 1 land. And that's the video. Sadly, I couldn't show the entire deck because I didn't have time for that. But if you want to see the entire deck, it's in the description below. But so consider subscribing and liking because it really helps on my channel perform better in the algorithm so you can see more videos helping you build better decks.